make us feel like criminals. We are bad for the environment, we are bad for the animals, we are doing everything wrong. While we are just trying to follow the rules to do everything right. It's a family business. It's not an industry, it's a family business. It's a couple with the children. And it's the same over here. So all our debts are also the debts of the children if we cannot continue producing. I'm Daisy. I am 45 years old. I was born in Giel, another city than here. And now we are farming, so I'm a farmer.
My name is Gunter Klaasen, fifth generation farmer at this location. We have, like I believe, a beautiful chicken farm in Ravels. A few years ago, I believe it was.
We are doing this 8 years now.
8 years.
But then, yeah, the last license we got was in 2020. And then 2 years later, the government starting changing the rules. Before we had how they call a green farm, so we have a good impact on nature. And now suddenly we are, if you see the figures, we would be a red farm. So actually we wouldn't be able to stay over here working like we are working now. So they give us a license 2 years before. We do all the investments, following all the rules they put in themselves, and then they go change their own rules. So we have, actually we have to quit, and then it's done for us.
This is something that's really ridiculous.
I think farming is very much under attack. It's a silent, very silent war against farming, and it's being conducted in order to promote a green agenda, which is seen as a value in and of itself. So the people who believe that the environment has acquired this sacred status assume that farmers and the rural communities are their enemy. Why are they their enemy? Because farmers and the rural communities are principally concerned with preserving the countryside in their own way of life, and because farmers are also concerned with growing food. And from their standpoint, the growing of food is seen as a second-order principle compared to the importance of saving the environment.
We have to reduce that nitrogen from that stables with 60%. 60%, and in the new license there was no problem to have the chickens at these conditions. We had a business plan calculated on this amount of chickens for that fitting in these stables, and now they say we had to reduce otherwise the chickens with 60% in that stables, which would mean that I go bankrupt. So for me, the situation is killing me and my family. There's also something going on in Flanders about the impact on nature. They invented something like the impact score tool. It's a tool that calculates the impact of a farm or also industrial company on the habitat or Nature 2000 areas in the neighborhood. A few years ago, also before we had our license, we were a green company, and green did mean that I didn't have an impact of more than 5%. We had an impact about 3% on the environment following the tool. Now the rules are suddenly changed. They put the level of impact for agriculture farms to 0.025 with a variable value of 0.028. Everything above this value will not be able to continue in the future. That means for us that if we have to have a new license for one reason or another, it won't be able to have a new license. Here is no future at this place.
In that case, our farm will go bankrupt. We won't be able to keep chickens, so we don't get an income. We can't pay off our loans, so we go bankrupt. And we go personally bankrupt. It's not just the company, it's us as a family personally.
So farming is completely dependent on European decision making. If the current policies continue as they are being proposed today, farming, actually it is the target of many European policies to reduce farming output, especially when it comes down to livestock or when it comes down to climate policy issues.
They invented actually the nitrogen crisis or nitrogen problem because in fact the nitrogen level is not that low that there is a problem, especially not the ammonium level. The ammonium level is below the European standards, but they created this ammonium and nitrogen problem just to make it possible for nature organizations to remove the agriculture and get the land to create more nature. And that's the only reason they invented this nitrogen problem, because when they created the Nature 2000 areas in Europe 30 years ago, there was a lot of more nitrogen in the air than today. 55% more nitrogen was in the air when they pointed the habitat areas in Europe, and today, with 55% less nitrogen, they say there is a problem. That's something crazy.
Farming isn't just simply about growing food. Farming isn't just a business. Farming is a way of life. And we think that that way of life is an essential ingredient to what it means to be European. If you lose that, if that community becomes isolated and marginalized, then Europe itself and the European way of life will diminish in terms of its importance. So it is for that reason that we stand up for the farmers and we stand up for the rural communities, and we'll do our utmost to ensure that we can prevent the green agenda from triumphing over the farming way of life. I think ordinary citizens can do a lot to make sure that farming and the farming way of life is preserved.
That's weighing most on us. Just we want to give them a future, but with the rules changing of the government, we are giving them a bad future.
And just because of the rules of the government, my children didn't choose for this. They cannot be blamed for things that we have been chosen for, or stupid ideas from the government. All the future of our children will be gone. I think the reason why they are doing this is that there are a lot of, green organizations that want to have in this region only industry and nature. There is no place for agriculture in this region in their mind. They also call it agro-bashing. That's something that's going on for years for now, especially in this region. I don't know why, because actually the agriculture in this region is at top of the world, but still all the media, all the newspaper, often influenced by people who work there with green and nature motivations, continue to push and punish and write wrong things about agriculture. Instead of giving them a future, I'm afraid, really afraid, that we are gonna leave them a lot of debt, and they don't have any future left.